Woohoo! Welcome to Hopping on Live 365. Yes, I am back. And the reason I am back is the very topic that I want to talk about today, which is the power of your voice, the power of word, and the power of self-expression. And the question I want to ask you is, what happens when you don't honor the power of your self-expression? What do you feel inside? What starts to brew? What are the signals and the signs that you aren't honoring self-expression, using your voice, the very gift that we're given as human beings? We have this wonderful, sophisticated left brain that gives us the ability to articulate and to create speech. And our voice is so powerful. You know, they have our words and our feelings and our emotions and everything that come from our voice. And the truth, when we speak our truth and we follow our intuition to speak around and express ourselves, then that frees us and it empowers us, and it allows us to step into the medicine and the gifts and the strengths and everything that we have, and it allows us to become authentically us, because the more you speak your truth, the more you are honoring who you are and what you be. Okay, so that's what I want to talk about today. And I have stepped away from my Hopping on Live 365 challenge. I got stopped because I was banned on Facebook for 3 months, and that kind of stopped my challenge. And then I stepped away from it because I kind of lost my momentum and I lost my groove. It's a bit like anything, you know, when you stop something, you get out of that groove, and next time you step back into it, it feels wonky and uncomfortable, and you feel like you're back in your discomfort zone. And I had that experience when I was in the Bahamas and I was diving. You know, I went back into terror mode, but I'm going to talk about that in a different Hopping on Live. But the thing I want to describe about that is that when you step back into something that you were comfortable with before, and it was part of your sort of conscious capability set, it's not unusual to feel uncomfortable and wonky and wobbly. It's like getting back on a bike, getting back on a horse, getting back into anything, getting back into travel. Come on, everyone. You know, we've had 2.5 years of lockdown, and, you know, stepping back into travel can be scary in itself, right? Because we've forgotten everything that was just, you know, automatic about check-in and doing everything else. Have I got this? Have I got that? You know, it was all done with fluidity and ease because you were doing it all the time. Now it's like, oh my goodness, have I forgotten this? Have I forgotten that? What about this? What if I don't have that? What if I don't do this? And we get back into that whole sort of sense of awkwardness, and and then we feel self-conscious, and we step back into anxiety, fear, and doubt. And they're all normal things. But let's get back to the point of today. What I want to talk about is self-expression, right? And it's funny because when you step away from that, even as I had a bit of trepidation before I hit that live button, and I was kind of going, oh, and I sat here for a few minutes and I had to ground myself. Because, you know, yes, doubt, discomfort, all those D's that I've talked about in some of my other lives, that I'll talk about again another time, are the forerunners of uncertainty, and they can keep us cozy on the couch. So why do I want to talk about the power of your voice and self-expression? You know, I kind of mentioned it up front, because the more that we get comfortable and get used to expressing ourselves and speaking our truth, whatever that be, the more we grow, And it's kind of interesting, because if you go back to the ancient times, words almost became, well, in a lot of cases, words were spells. And words still do hold that kind of magic or destructive power. And that's kind of crazy, because, you know, in terms of body language, and part of my background is teaching and training body language. I used to do that for the Federal Police and up in the UAE. And one of the interesting things is that words Words, our voice, our words only account for 7% of meaning. 93% of all meaning that we extract when we're in conversation or when we're connected with someone is non-verbal, is non-word based, okay? So tone goes into it, and tone's very important. So you're actually communicating a lot in other ways as well. So that's why it's not the power of your voice. It's not just your voice, it's self-expression. And self-expression can come through so many different ways. It can come through creativity, through the arts, through dance, through painting, through crafting, through moulding, through working out, through kindness, by doing an act of kindness or things like that. So self-expression and using your self-expression is kind of a larger category of just using your voice, right? And our voice is not just words, it's tone, okay? It's energy, it's vibration, it's power, it's frequency. I often say with my clients, feel my words, not necessarily listen to the literal content of my words, because the self-expression, the most powerful self-expression, I fully believe, and this is just my opinion, is the energy and the love and the kindness and the compassion with which we speak our words and we express ourselves. And for me, it is my life's mission, dedication, and aspect that I want to fulfill every single day is to lead and live from the lens of love. So I want my words to come from a space of love. I want my self-expression to be the seeds of love. I want them to be love because I'm love and the world needs more love. But hey, that's also for another day. I will talk about that as well. So using your voice, casting a magical spell upon yourself and for others, using it for good, using it with compassion is so very important, okay? So I want you to think about, what words are you speaking to yourself? Are you listening to your inner critic, or are you actually engaging your inner coach? Are you allowing your inner critic and saboteur to stop you and hold you and thwart you? I've been listening to that quite a bit over the last couple of weeks, and it's kind of interesting. That to me is one of the signals that I am not in alignment and expressing my truth in my day-to-day. Because this is in part about why I'm hopping back on live, because I actually need to speak my truth and my wisdom, and I need to perform. I've realised over the last few months, there's an element of me that is the exhibitionist. It wants to perform. There's a part of Jenny that is a performer. And when I don't honour that, I play up. It arcs up and it comes out differently, right? So, I might go out, drink too many margaritas and dance on a tabletop. That might be fun and silly and all that sort of stuff. But when I tune into what that's saying, it's saying, Jenny, you were born to perform in the way that gives you fulfillment. Yes, I like to have fun, and yes, I love to dance, and I dance, even here at home with Prissy the pup, who, hang on, let's have a little, she's just, see if you can have a little, there she is. She's having a little snooze. So Prissy and I have a little dance, and that's self-expression. It's lots of different ways of self-expression, and we need to do it because we're these amazing energetic beings, right, that are all vibration and frequency, and so we need to move that energy. We can't just keep being sedentary beings. It's very easy to get into that habit. So, it's interesting to listen to and see what are the signs and the signals and the feedback that's coming back to you because you're not using your voice or you're not expressing yourself. And physically, it can actually lead to diseases or unwellness around your lungs. Your lungs is the primary, from the metaphysics world, it is the seat of kind of self-expression. So, if you've got stuff going on with your throat and your lungs and all of that always comes back to self-expression. So our bodies are all in tune and trying to give us feedback as well. So if you've got stuff going on with that and you're coughing and having to clear your throat and, you know, you've got throat problems and all this sort of stuff, then maybe look inside and think to yourself, where am I not expressing my truth? You know, maybe it's to yourself. Maybe you're actually compromising yourself. And hence, the feedback that comes back from when you compromise yourself is resentment. Resentment is a really important flag bearer as part of our early warning signals. It's part of our dashboard that we have in what I call HumNav, the Human Navigation Project. And so resentment has a very clear message for you. It means you're over-investing in something else and under-investing in you. And so that comes back to self-expression. Maybe you are biting your tongue and not saying something that needs to be said. And when I say, using your voice and expressing your authenticity and truth, it doesn't always have to come out, you know, as a sword fight and go touche and, you know, and you have a bit of a sparring match. Don't get me wrong, I have sparring matches and I've noticed that I've had more of them with my friends recently in the last few weeks. And again, that's another sign, that's another feedback sign to me saying, Jenny, you're not expressing your truth and you're not performing and giving it out to the world. So guess what? It comes out sideways. So I have these little sparring matches with my friends. Now, most of my friends enjoy having those sorts of things and enjoy deep conversations and that sort of stuff. And so that's okay too. But again, that's another early warning signal that I am not honouring my truth and I am not using my self-expression in a way that is aligned in integrity with me, okay? Because, you know, I'm happy to have a sparring session, but I want it to be in full consensus and full, everyone is happy to have that. I don't want to inflict that upon people just because I'm not listening and heeding the signals that are going on in me, within me and around me to say, Jenny, get back out there and start speaking and sharing wisdom and truth. Which kind of brings me to another thing, is that this whole thing about self-expression and the power of voice, there's a difference between offering something and then projecting stuff upon people. And again, I found myself projecting my views, my values, and my beliefs on others. And I think we can do that for lots of different reasons, because we believe that our truth should be everyone's truth. And that's not the case, because truth is just perspective. My truth and your truth are all different perspectives of the same actuality. It's like when you climb a mountain or you go hiking, right? You, at different points, at different vantage points on that hike or on that climb, you get different perspectives. And when we tap, and so our truth is tapping into that perspective and that view that feels authentic and aligned for you. Now, just as different people have different views along the path, we each have our own soul's journey and our own path and our own ascension into our own wisdom, or wisdom as I call it. And so my truth may not resonate with your truth, okay? But we still need to share our truths. We need to express them. But we need, I feel we need to be more respectful of other people's perspectives, which are different views at different vantage points along our different paths that we're all tracking. And there is no right or wrong. There's just different perspectives. And so for me, when I found myself getting back into judgment, listening to my inner critic, and then starting to project my levels of truth and my views upon others, again, that is feedback to me to say I'm not living in integrity. And I had to look internally to see where I wasn't living in integrity, and it was because I was stifling my voice and I wasn't expressing myself, okay? And so, yes, I want to share the wisdom, because I think one of my gifts is that I have been given through spirit, through whoever faith you want to believe. But one of my gifts is I have the ability to extract wisdom from any situation, any place, anywhere, anytime. And I'm good at asking questions, and I just have a naturally curious, inquiring mind. And so if I'm not using my gifts, then I'm not in integrity with me, and I haven't been doing that. And so and that's another signal when you're not in alignment and in integrity, is you get a little spiky, right? And your tolerance gets a little shorter, and sometimes you get spiky and nitpicky of people. And again, I found myself doing that with my friends. So, it's really important to understand and stop and reflect and look and see, what are the signals? Because I've got a saying, if you spot it, you got it. So, if someone's frustrating you or you're getting judgy about something, stop, hit the pause button and get curious and think, okay, well, if I spot it, I got it. So what's going on inside of me that I have a judgment on, that I am just projecting onto somebody else? Because that's how it really goes. We're just, it's the game of life is a game of smoke and mirrors. There is so much reflection and projection. So I think it's important to stop and pause and look at some of those, signals. And for me, I think I've mentioned 4 or 5, if I can recall them. The fact that I was in my head more, and normally I live from my heart space, from the lens of love. I know when I'm in my head, and so things are oscillating around or revolving around. And when I start getting run by my inner critic, I know that there's something brewing inside. And then I also mentioned resentment, when we're over-investing in others and under-investing in ourselves. That's a very powerful and clear sign that you need to create some boundaries, or you need to do something differently. And if you need a hand with that, then, send me a note, send me a personal message. I can help you out with any of this. It's once you start to understand the language of the feedback system, which is what HumNav's all about, then you can start to interpret all these emotions. Because remember, emotions are just energy in motion. That's why they're called emotions, energy in motion. And so they're just like little email packages with feedback around what's going on inside of you, and how when you understand what's going on inside of you, and when you heed it, and you can make a different choice, or put up a boundary, or create, or do whatever, take action, the action that you need to take to get you to a more aligned space. It's really powerful to understand and be able to interpret those emotions and those energy packets of emotional emails that we're being given. So there are some very clear signs and signals. I'd love to know if you can tune into signs and signals. Are you seeing those sorts of things? Do you feel you are stepping in and into the power of your voice and self-expression? Do you know what that feels like? Some people may not. I know when I left the corporate world, I forgot how to smile because I was a professional and we were serious. And so I lost my dimple, and, I had to relearn how to smile. And then when I did, I got my dimples back. Yay. But sometimes we don't know what things feel like, or we've lost the muscle memory. So it's important, if you don't know what self-expression looks like, or how to use your voice, then let me know that. I'd love to know in the comments below. So what else? One last thing I'd like to leave you with is I mentioned earlier that it's important for me to lead. I want to live my life leading and living from the lens of love, which kind of brings me to the point of that we speak the words we need to hear. So maybe tune into the words you're using, tune into your language, because again, that's a really important thing with me, and I think that's another one of my gifts, is the ability to read the energy and the charges that we use in our language and on words, because words become trigger points for us, and sometimes they get loaded with meaning. And so I think it's really important to tune into your language, because, you can say, I am depressed, I am sad, I am hopeless. And in doing that, when you are owning and you are becoming the embodiment of those things, as opposed to a slight change in language. It could be, I am feeling sad, I am feeling flat, I am feeling depressed, I am feeling. Because feeling, and as I said, remember before, emotions are energy emotions. So they're not a permanent thing, they move through us. It's just when we choose to reinvest in them and re-trigger them and re-consume them that we think we become them. And they are not who we are. They are not who we are. They are just a frequency moving through us, and they are part of our human feedback system, our human navigation feedback system. So tune in to the language you're using and maybe make some different choices because, as I said, remember, you speak the words you need to hear. So you know when you've said something to someone else and all of a sudden those words just resonate with you. Tune into what you're saying to other people and think, maybe I'm actually saying that for me. Even if you're being critical of someone, maybe look and see that as a reflective tool and go, you know what? I'm actually being really critical of me. And this is flowing into my criticism of other people. And then so you could say, well, you know what? How can I adopt soft eyes? You know, it's one of my favourite tools. It is, you know, looking at yourself and others with compassion and love. And so you could ask yourself, you know, if you're being really hard and critical on yourself, ask yourself, where am I actually doing that well? Maybe, let me give you an example. You know, you might be trying to create something online or start something business-wise, and you judge yourself as being inconsistent and undisciplined, right? And often we make that judgment because, you know, we're forever just going, why can't I just do it? Why can't I just have the willpower to do it? And then we usually consider ourselves to be lazy or undisciplined. Stop, hit the pause button, stop and ask yourself, where am I naturally disciplined? Where am I not lazy? Where do I just initiate action all the time? Because I can tell you somewhere in your life or many areas of your life, you are disciplined and they're going to be in the areas that are of highest value to you, right? So look and see where you are doing that. That's looking at you with soft eyes. And so when you see where you have it already, it's a much easier psychological thing to take something from one area of your life and move it to another. So, you know, maybe you're really disciplined at the gym, right? Or maybe you're really disciplined with your health and what you eat. And so you can ask yourself, well, why is that so easy? What is it about that that's so easy? And then you can take what you intuit from that and apply that to the task that you're trying to do. And so, you know, in the end, you might just need to link it to something that is important to you, okay? And I will talk about that a bit more in another day because I think I've been chatting for a wee while now. So anyway, I hope you have found this interesting. I am so happy to be back and to be showing up again. I'm going to be showing up most days, and I'm going to have some days off and stuff like that. But I'm really excited to be jumping back on live because for me, I need to speak and share my wisdom and truth, but I'm not imposing it upon you. You know, snack on it. See what, you know, life is a smorgasbord and so is the wisdom opportunities. And if there's something there that you like, devour it. If there's something there that's new for you, then maybe try it and try it out and see whether it's something that feels aligned and comfortable for you. And, you know, if it does fit and sit well with you, then consume some more of it. If not, then, you know, move on to the next topic and see what else is there because life is a smorgasbord and we're here to dine and to try things out. Sometimes we're going to eat some things and they might make us sick. Sometimes you're going to take something and you're going to eat something and you're going to spit it out because you go, yuck, I don't enjoy that whatsoever. And then there's going to be other beautiful delights that you're going to find along the way. So it's the same with wisdom and teachings and, you know, people and all of that. We're all smorgasbords. So sample us and consume what feels right and aligned for you, okay? Because that's what life's all about. Finding alignment and authenticity for you and owning it for you, right? And for us not to project it upon each other and hold each other by our own standards, values, and beliefs. That's how we live through the lens of love. All right, I'm going to love you and leave you there, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Hopping on Live 365, big love, big hugs, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Bye.